Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Mashayah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yasharal, Yahuwah, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one, brothers and sisters, than Yahuwah. And Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Dawood coming to you again with the indictment. For thy violence against thy brother, YACUB. This is part 7. What shall be the end result? Shame shall cover you, Yasharal, and you shall be cut off forever. The bloodline of Esau, Yasharal, who is known as Edom, is even in the New Testament. Herod the Great. He was an Edomite, you know. What made him so great? Why do the historians and the biographers call him great? What did he do? They said he built great cities. He had huge building projects. Who authorized him to do so? The Romans. Did you know that the Promised Land was colonized in this time? Colonization in the Promised Land. The Romans had all authority. They chose the leader for the Promised Land, a puppet, an Edomite. Does all of this sound familiar? And he built great structures in the land, European structures. He also built the temple. Did Yah authorize him to build the temple? The answer is no. Did he follow the dimensions in Torah? The answer is no. So that temple that is in the north, Yah, he who is seated upon the throne, has no connection with it. What did Yahusha say about that temple? There will not be one stone standing upon another. Did that prophecy come to pass? Absolutely. Let's begin. Matat Yahu. They said it's Matthew. Chapter 2, 1-4. There's the script. Work it out. 1. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king. Can we stop again? Before we can even proceed, we have to put this name, Jesus, to rest. Brothers and sisters, friends, listeners, Jesus is a colonization name. The Europeans colonized this book and they put this name in. They said that the name that is above all names is too sacred for you to utter. So we have to give you alternatives. Here's one of the alternatives. Jesus. For years I've been speaking to our people, and they said that Jesus is salvation. Jesus is our deliverer. Jesus doesn't mean any such thing. I've checked. Have you? Look at it. G. You hear it? G. That's how it's pronounced. The prefix, the J-E, G. It stands for geo, like geopolitical, earth, geography, earth, ground, soil. Okay, so we aced the prefix. This is a fact. I want you to look it up yourself. Then you have the sus in the end. In Hebrew, the sus would be horse. So it means earth horse. In Greek, the sus would mean pig, earth pig. Let me tell you something strange about this. The Greeks came into the south, to the temple in Telerod, under Antiochus Epiphanes. They sacrificed a pig on the altar unto Zeus. They stole the Torah scrolls and all of the manuscripts, all of the books. Yeah. They stripped the gold off the wall. They forbade the people to sacrifice, to keep the Shabbats, the feast days, the new moons. They were told they had to call upon their mighty one. What do you think his name was? Zeus. They burnt their books and said, if we catch you reading, we'll put you to death. Doesn't that sound familiar? This is one of the things the colonizers do, so that you won't rise up against them to serve your master. They take away your history and all knowledge of who you served. And then they handed you this name, which means in modern times an earth pig, but in ancient times, before it evolved to what it is today, it was something else. Strong's G2424 is just this easy to prove. Go to Strong's. Look at what they're going to give you. There was no name Jesus. What was it? Jesus. In the 1611 KJV, these are the 5 letters that they gave you. I-E-S-U-S. How is it pronounced? Jesus. Come down where it says Strong's Concordance. You see Jesus. Then it tells you Jesus or Joshua. Look how the name evolved over time. How many scripts did they give you so far? 4. There's only one name under the sun given amongst men that you can be saved by. So Jesus is not the name. Joshua is not the name. Jesus is not the name. Jesus is not the name. What is it? In the Hebrew text, which everyone has a problem with, because the Messiah, the Messiah, has a Hebrew name. The Hebrew name is Yahusha. It has a meaning. It points you towards the Father. Yahuwah is salvation. H3068 in combination, which H3467. He's the one who's the deliverer. Where's his name in Jesus? Where's his name in Joshua? It does not exist. Look, original word comes from Greek. Do you see that? Look at the last 3 letters in this Greek transliteration. Keep that in mind. It looks like an O-U-S. Keep it in mind. Part of speech, noun masculine, transliteration, I-E-S-O-U-S, phonetic spelling. Look how you are to pronounce it. E-A-Sus. Not Jesus. Jesus is the new name. You had 3 colonizers. You had the Greeks first. They gave you Jesus. Then you had the Romans. They gave you Jesus. Then you have the English. They came up with a new letter, a J. And they gave you Jesus. Definition: Jesus or Joshua, the name of the Messiah. No, it isn't. None of these are his names. These are fictitious names created by the translator. Remember what the translator said. The name of Yahuwah is too sacred for you to utter, so we're going to give you alternatives. Alternatives, plural, not singular. Jesus and Joshua, these are alternatives. Usage, the Greek form of Joshua. So if there's a Greek form, there's a Hebrew form. Which one was the original? The Greek or the Hebrew? If you said Hebrew, you're right. Why are we using the Greek form of Joshua created by the colonizers? What is pig in ancient Greek? Remember the 3 letters I told you to remember? Sus. What does it mean? Pig, swine, hog. What is pig in Latin? Noun, sus. Sow, pig, swine, hog, boar, kind of fish. Porcus, pork chops. Pork-us with a U-S at the end. Pig, swine, hog. Koros, pig. Brother Dawood, are you showing us that Jesus does not mean salvation? That is correct. If it did, it would be G Soter, G Zozo, G Salver. But it means an earth pig. Now you understand why at Easter you are to have a ham. And you put the pineapples and the cherries and baste it with brown sugar. And that is your Easter ham. It is a replacement for the Passover lamb. Now let's return. Verse 1. Now when Yahusha was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. 2. Saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? You see colonization? Every time you see a J, it's colonizing. There's no J in Hebrew, period. But in their translations, they will put a J. For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. 3. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Why would all Jerusalem be troubled? It's obvious that the colonizers dwelt in the north, near that temple, where Fort Antonia was. That was their protection. They were troubled because they heard of a king that's in prophecy that would come and lead his people out of captivity. 4. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. Here we are again. Colonization in the book. There is no Christ anywhere. No Christ in Hebrew. Why do you accept Christ in your speech? This is the Roman God, Christos Helios, the sun god. Why would you say Christ instead of the Ma-Sha-Ya? Christ is a replacement for the Ma-Sha-Ya. Christ is not a transliteration. It's just a translation. It's just inferred. They can just say it, and we will believe it. But once you go deep into the text, you find that Christ does not exist, and it does not belong here. 5. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem, Yahudah. For thus it is written by the prophet. Find the prophet that wrote this. Remember what I was teaching you. The new is in the old contained, the old is in the new explained. Everything in the New Testament must reach out to the Old Testament in order for you to confirm it. 6. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Yahudah, art not the least among the princes of Yahudah, for out of you shall come a governor that shall rule my people Yasharal. Oh, this must have bothered Herod. It must have bothered the ambassadors to the Roman emperor. A king? A governor? Only the emperor could appoint a governor over Yahudah. It was his conquest. And here there's going to come out one from amongst the people that should be governor. This was a threat. 7. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. 8. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and he said, Go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. Double speech. Crafty, wicked speech. To make you think that they're in favor of, but all the time they're against. Watch their language. 9. When they heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. They were able to read the stars in those days. Do you remember the story of Joseph, Yahusep, and his brother, Benjamin, Ben Yaman? That Benjamin was sitting with his brother Joseph, Yahusep. And Yahusep asked him, according to this map, and according to the stars in the sky, tell me, where would your brother be at this time? He looked at the map, he looked at the stars, and he said, my brother would be sitting right before me. And Yahusep said unto him, I am your brother. I cannot wait to learn these skills. 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. 11. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. Note, where's the manger scene? You know the manger scene where the wise men came to the manger to observe the child, to give him treasures, to worship him. It doesn't exist. They came into the house, and the child was about 2 years old. 12. And being warned of God, well, we know God in the Old Testament is H430, so he was warned of the Alayam, the angels, the watchers, the messengers, in a dream that they should not return to Herod. They departed into their own country another way. 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel, the Malach of Yahuwah, appeared to Yahusep in a dream. The one Joseph in the New Testament, his name is Yahusep also, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. You see where the Father sends us all the time? To Egypt. Every time we are fleeing from our ancient enemy, we go into Africa. 14. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt. 15. And was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of Yahuwah by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he was exceedingly angry, and sent forth, and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. What kind of wickedness is this? Little brown babies massacred by who? An Edomite, for your violence against your brother YACUB. Shame shall cover you, Yasharal, and you shall be cut off forever. This is the progeny of Yasharal, Edom, Edom. 17. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah, the prophet, saying, Jeremy. Jeremy is Jeremiah. Jeremiah in the Hebrew text is YARAMEYAHU. Colonization. In the Bible, from the Old to the New, his name changed, just like Hosea is Osei, and then they say Jeremiah is now Jeremy. 18. In Ramah there was a voice heard, lamentation and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not. What is this, they are not? It means they're dead. Here's the prophecy in YARAMEYAHU 31:15. Look who's speaking. They left this part out. Thus saith Yahuwah. A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rahel, weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children because they were dead. The new is in the old contained, the old is in the new explained. Everything that you read about in the New Testament comes from the Old Testament. If it does not, it is not a part of the book. It is an addition, including the names. If you cannot find the name in Hebrew, it does not exist. Remember the Hebrews, the children of Yasharal, Abaya, were colonized by the Europeans, the same way that you are today living in America. All of their knowledge of this book and all of the laws, the statutes, the judgments, the commandments, and the temple was wiped out of their minds. They were destroyed also, just like we. History keeps repeating itself. Why? Because we keep walking away from our master. He warned us what would happen if we moved away from him, that our enemies would come against us like a flood, the others, to wipe us off the face of the earth because of this jealousy, because Yah chose us and he did not choose them. So the whole world has come together in a confederate to destroy us. Let's return to Matthew 19. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel, a malach, a messenger of Yahuwah, appeared in a dream to Yahusep in Egypt. Isn't it amazing? We have Yahusep, the son of YACUB, and here we have Yahusep, the son of Heli. I would think it's Halia or Halaya, all in Egypt. Every time we got in trouble, we went into Africa. 20. Saying, arise and take the young child. Hold it. The malach didn't say that. This is what he told him. Arise and take your son and his mother and go into the land of Yasharal. For they are dead which sought your son's life. 21. And he arose and took his son and his son's mother and came into the land of Yasharal. Remember what you're reading. It's a translation. You can add whatever you want to be here so that you can get the meaning of the text. They're telling you it was a young child, but they didn't tell you definitively that it was Yahusep's son. Luke 3:23. And Yahusha himself began to be about 30 years of age, being the son of Yahusep, which was the son of Haliah or Halaya. It was Yahusep's son. Brother Daoud, you missed something. You didn't read the whole thing. Yes, I did. What about what's in parentheses there? As was supposed. Okay, I want you to think. Who inserted as was supposed? The translator. He found in the text everything that surrounded as was supposed. He couldn't change it because too many people had it. So he put in there as was supposed to frame your thoughts, because in Matthew it says that Jesus was born by the will of the Holy Ghost. It's a contrived story. Other places in your book you will find that they say Jesus bar Joseph. Bar is a replacement for Ben, which means son of. So it was Jesus, the son of Joseph. It's a cover-up, brothers and sisters. After this, it gives you the lineage. The lineage goes all the way back to Adam. It's a patriarchal lineage. From father to son, father to son, to father to son. In Matthew, they try to tell you that the lineage is from Mary, a matriarchal lineage. Have you ever seen one of those in the text? It does not exist. The only way that Yahusha is legitimate is that he has to be the son of Yahusep, who is from the royal line of King Daoud, King David. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Back to Matthew 22. But when he had heard that Archelaus did reign in Yahudia in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. I would be too, like father, like son. Edomites. Notwithstanding being warned of God, that's the Aliyam, in a dream, he turned aside into parts of Galilee. 23. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. Fine. Where it says this. The new is in the old contained, the old is in the new explained. In the Old Testament, it tells you that Yahusha was going to be born from his brethren. He's not going to be born by the Holy Spirit. He wasn't going to come down from heaven. No, never says that. The Father says, I'll raise up a prophet from amongst your brethren. He's going to be like unto Masha. He also tells you that he's going to be the root and offspring of David. He's going to come from that same royal bloodline that David did. He said that a star was going to come out of YACUB, a ruler that was going to come out of Yasharal. He's going to come from that bloodline. If he came from the heavens, he bypassed the bloodline of men, and he is no longer legitimate. So Jesus is not legitimate. If you call on that illegitimate name, you will be ashamed. The name that is above all names, the legitimate name, the one who can trace their lineage all the way back to King Daud, King David, the son of Yahusep, is Yahusha. BibleArchaeologyReport.com. The slaughter of the innocents is unknown to historians outside of the Bible. They have not dug up, they said, the little brown babies that were slaughtered. And if they did, they wouldn't tell you anyway. Because the first thing they're going to do is check DNA. And then they will find that that DNA is an exact match to us. But it's cruelty consistent with the type of person Herod was, particularly in his latter years. He drowned his brother-in-law, Aristobulus, an 18-year-old high priest. Did you guys catch that? Herod is an Edomite. His brother-in-law was the high priest, 18 years old. Is that the way the priesthood works? Remember, the high priest goes into the Holy of Holies to commune with he who is seated upon the throne. Could Aristobulus be a high priest? The only high priest must descend from the line of a Harun. That's Aaron. Does Aristobulus come from the line of Aaron? Absolutely not. An Edomite is on the throne. Remember, his hatred for the children of Yasharal is what put him there. Now you understand that the high priests in these days were Edomites chosen by Edomites, and the Edomites were chosen by the Romans to rule over the children of Yasharal. Let's continue. Because he thought the Romans would favor the popular young man over him as ruler of Yahudia, so he drowned him. He ordered his Hasmonean mother-in-law, Alexandra, to be executed, as well as his beloved second wife, Miriam. She was from the children of Yasharal, as it is said. He married her for legitimacy. Is he legitimate because he married one of the daughters of YACUB? Would that make his seed legitimate? The answer is no. What makes you legitimate is that the father has to be from this royal line, not the mother. The mother doesn't have any seed. She can take on the seed of anyone, just like Miriam took on the seed of this Edomite here. So if your father's an Edomite, you are an Edomite. And vice versa. Whoever your father is, it tells you who you are. Let's continue. He also ordered that his sons Alexander and Aristobulus, as well as Antipater, be killed. This is a wicked man. Caesar Augustus. Hold it 1 second. Hold it. We've had the U.S. at the end of the name, Aristobulus, Augustus. Jesus. Why were Aristobulus and Caesar Augustus? Why did they have that suffix? U.S. Because they were worshippers of Zeus. And they carried the god in which they worship's name in their suffix, their prefix, or someplace in the name, period. Caesar Augustus was said to have quipped that it was better to be Herod's pig. Look what's in parentheses. Hus. See the U.S. at the end again? Then his son, Huios. In modern times, Herod the Great has been variously diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia or with paranoid personality disorder. See how they try to clean up the ones that they believe are great? Can I give you my diagnosis? He was a devil, a wicked, an evil man. He was an Edomite. This is his personality. So, brothers and sisters, even in the New Testament, you see that our ancient enemy has become even more wicked, slaughtering children. Continue to part 8. Shalom.